Hey, we're Attention Trading, a full-service digital marketing agency that helps small and mid-sized businesses with their strategic marketing efforts. From websites, design, social media, and ads, our goal is to create marketing alignment for our clients. You may not realize it, but the majority of businesses lack a solid marketing strategy and plan. That's where we come in. On this show, we talk with business owners, founders, and marketers to uncover the secrets of their success when it comes to starting and scaling a business. This is the Attention Trading Podcast. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Attention Trading Podcast, where we talk with CEOs, owners, founders, and marketers about how they grow, scale, and operate their business. My name is Max Lowy. I'm here with my co-founder of Attention Trading, Steve Alves. All right, everyone, buckle up. Today, we are thrilled to have Marco Maggiore on the show, a seasoned auto logistics professional with over a decade of experience. Marco's impressive track record includes client management with RMCs, van lines, OEMs, along with pioneering award-winning auto transportation portal tech. As a strategic leader and a problem solver, Marco's dedication to delivering value and driving innovation is unparalleled. Marco, welcome to the Attention Trading Podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Yeah, of course. No, we're super excited. I've had the opportunity to know you for years. Back in, I guess it's been probably like 10 plus years now, when you were at Montway, which we will get into. But I'd love to hear from you about what you're currently doing, what your current role is, and just a little bit about kind of like where the industry is right now.
Yeah, no problem. So currently I serve as the CSO, the Chief Strategy Officer for SYCN Auto Logistics. We are an auto transport management company that services our clients in several different arenas. We work in the dealership space, the OEM space, direct to consumer, B2B space whenever there might be an ability to integrate technology. And of course, Max, as you know, the relocation space, which is where you alluded to, we probably first ran into each other, not to date us, but it has been a good, 10 plus years or so, my friend. So it's definitely been a while. We're unique, I feel, because we offer some really great technology, right? Portal system. That's important in today's modern day and age, gives people the ability to instantly get pricing, to use some AI tools. And we actually have AI tools, right? I feel like a lot of people throw that AI label onto everything. I saw an electric toothbrush the other day at one of the big box warehouse stores that was AI. So I'm really curious how that works. But we actually have AI tools that work. And more importantly, though, is we complement that technology with the fact that we are full service. So we do all that dirty work, if you will, to ensure that things we pick up at point A make it in time and make it safely to point B. So we're not going to give you a checklist to say, hey, here's all the things you need to do, or here's the phone number for the driver, best of luck. We actually handle and manage that whole process. Simple theory, right? We want our clients to keep doing what they do and run their business and have peace of mind of knowing that we take care of the auto transport part of it. So, I've been enjoying the challenge that comes along with that, but I feel we're positioned very well to be a leader in that space.
Very cool. So I'd love to take it even a step back, right? I want to know, I guess like in your own words, because I've seen, just knowing you, like, and your career, I guess, like the progression, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you were like a VP of marketing at IT security firm or agency, and then you came into like the relocation of the auto logistics space. And then you've held roles of like VP of sales and marketing and VP of relo. And like you just alluded to, now you're the chief strategic officer, or right, the CSO. So like that progression, I'd love to hear, like, in your words, like how that journey even came about.
Yeah, it's been quite the journey, right? Absolutely. So you're right. I kind of started out my career. I graduated college and I graduated with a degree in philosophy. So a lot of people, when they hear that, they're like, philosophy, what in the world are you going to do with that, right? Are you like, everyone pictures like the Buddhist monk up on this, mountaintop sanctuary holding the sunflower and, trying to figure out the universe. But what people really don't realize is what philosophy really teaches you is a disciplined, logical way to look at problems and really come up with solutions. So I'd like to say that I try and listen to understand as opposed to listen to reply, which I think is a challenging thing for a lot of people. But I took that kind of philosophical, logical way of constructing arguments and ideas, and I always had kind of a knack or a love for technology. So I originally got into the identity theft protection space. So this was us creating technology that could be used in a business purpose for banks and government agencies, hospitals, and really you think about it is that the biggest threat to those companies isn't their own technology, right? They spend millions of dollars making sure their IT is really up to snuff, and they try and insulate their systems from hackers. But the weak point is you and I. It's when we're transacting online and our own personal computer gets hacked into, or hey, someone from Nigeria needs me to go buy them gift cards ASAP, so I need to do that. And then that computer ends up being the one that has the virus on it, and then they're able to scrape information, your bank account, your personal records. So we offered protection to help against that endpoint threat. And we did really well in that space. And then we were acquired by this company called LifeLock. I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard of LifeLock before, but they were famous for back in the day. Their CEO would literally publicize his social security number and say, go ahead, hack it, take your best shot. Well, needless to say, he got hacked, several times. But, yeah, I mean, that was the whole point behind it. But LifeLock really is the kind of the blue chip go-to in this space. So a lot of people have it, and that was my first kind of taste of business. And I was really working with a smaller company that allowed me to wear a lot of hats and certainly learn a lot in the marketing side. So after that acquisition had occurred, I needed to find out, okay, great, what's next for me? So I was hoping to, get into a space that maybe I could bring that same technological approach and try and, help out a business that might be a little bit antiquated. So I made the natural progression, guys, from identity theft protection to auto logistics, right? I mean, come on.
Of course.
You got a philosophy major who has, that kind of background. It was natural. Let me go into this space. So, most people in our space, I think you'll find that they don't really necessarily set out as this is their career path. It just kind of finds them. And I certainly experienced the same thing. So I thought this would be a great space to, bring some of my skills to. And I originally had gone in thinking I could help out do some marketing. So I did, land my first role with a company going after marketing. But then, basically the next, 10 years or so in my journey was just learning that business, taking on different responsibilities. I had the opportunity to work with some really great companies that gave me a flavor for not only on the asset light or broker side of it, but also the asset-based side to where we actually own our own trucks and our own drivers. And I got to understand the business from a lot of different angles. I, naturally morphed into a business development role. Always kept that kind of marketing love that I have and still enjoy to this day. And I've been lucky to kind of, morph that into where I'm at right now, to where I'm in, a leadership role in the C-suite and been able to draw on all that past experience and frankly, all the mistakes and everything you learn from to get to the point where I am right now, to where I really oversee a lot of aspects of the business. I've never really lost that love of being in the trenches because, everything that I've asked people to do, I've done myself. So I understand the challenges involved with that. But I have had a chance to grow in my responsibility and seen the industry change for the better, right? It's starting to catch up. It was woefully behind really starting to catch up now. And as new things come up, it's interesting too, because things sometimes tend to come full circle without you really thinking that will happen. One of the major pushes in our space right now is a crackdown on some of the scamming that's out there in the brokerage world. Double brokering, folks who are scamming and pretending they're people when they're not. So it all ties back in, right, to that kind of
Right.
identity theft protection role I was in. And it's funny how that's followed me as well. So it's
Mm.
been an interesting journey for sure, but it's been a lot of fun, a lot of personal growth, a lot of challenges. It's been very rewarding. And see, folks, if you have that philosophy degree out there, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You could, that's definitely a viable degree to be successful in the business world for sure.
I think it's funny that the majority of people we talk to, we always ask about their past histories and stuff. And like, rarely did anybody ever start thinking, like, I'm at age whatever, right? I'm going to be doing this specific thing. I just think it's the progression of life tends to point you and redirect you into all the different areas. Now, Marco, you've mentioned technology, right? And it's kind of played a part in your life so far, right? With like where was technology a part of your interests? Was it built out of being part of the original IT company? Were you always interested in that? Like, how does that play a part now? Were you ever a coder at some point, or like you love the aspect of it and you're able to manage a bunch of individuals who are heavy into tech?
Yeah, so definitely not a coder, right? I never kind of went down that path, and hats off to those folks because those folks are absolutely brilliant, and what they do is such an important role. But Steve, I think the technology kind of really stemmed from the fact of that. I was kind of a hybrid jock nerd, right, growing up.
Mm.
So while I definitely loved sports and athletics and competing, I also loved everything that was happening while I was growing up, technology wise, right? Not to date me, but it was kind of the onset of things like email and the internet, right? And AOL and the modem and everything. And you saw all these amazing things that technology could do. And I really thought, hey, there's some great applications for this in, just making things more convenient and easier and just work smarter as opposed to harder. So,
Right.
I always kind of veered towards that technology side, but really it was just from me just, being a gamer and loving gaming and watching technology evolve so much from when I was, in high school up to the point where I am right now. So
Hmm.
it's been great to watch that and to see how that application has, kind of morphed into the business realm as well. So that's kind of where it started, really, Steve, is just that interest from, a kid, and it continues today.
Nice. So you have a continued edification in technology and how it applies to your space, and you'd mentioned AI a little bit. How deep does the AI bug go within your industry? Is it more nuanced with you guys, or are you guys just trying to go full fledged into that space?
Yeah, well, I think what's interesting is that, and it's certainly in our space, but I think it's a lot of spaces as well, is that depending upon who you talk to, you can ask a room of 20 people to define what AI is. You're going to get 20 different answers, right? It's the hot marketing buzz right now, right?
Oh
That's
yeah.
what it
Yep.
is. It's
Mhm.
let's replace words like, cloud-based technology, with, hey, throw some AI on there, right? Because everyone wants to hear that. So I kind of feel like everyone is trying to use that buzzword.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
for us though, it's what is something that could be done to where it fully automates a process that maybe was manually done before, and not
Hmm.
only the ability to spit out data, but to be able to actually look and respond with answers that help that individual as well. So, I'll give you a perfect example. We have an AI tool that is available to where a user can interface directly with our AI engine. And if they had questions about how auto transport worked, or more importantly, how much does it cost, right? You literally can have that conversation with our tool. Hey, how much would it cost to move my Toyota Corolla from Chicago, Illinois to Dallas, Texas? And then that AI goes through a series of asking qualifying questions and giving you answers, and it comes up with the best solution for you so that as an individual customer, you can get that data very quickly, right? Gone are the days of hey, I'm going to send out an email or leave a voicemail and then wait for someone to get back to me. Everyone wants that instant information. And then what people don't realize on the back end, and especially in our space, is that AI does wonders with helping our operations group of making sure that we're building loads and putting together the logistics path in the best way possible to ensure that we're not only using the best drivers, but we're building loads in an optimized way that's going to save our customers time and money and optimize that performance. So it's amazing what we're able to do, right? To crunch all this data through AI and make it spit out actual usable details which benefit everyone. So I really feel we have a true AI solution in place that actually does something as opposed to it just being marketing speak that we tend to put out there.
See, that's super interesting, and obviously having a little bit more background in the relocation space, I can understand and appreciate like the power of what it's doing for your company, which is really doing for your customers, right? And so putting my marketing hat back on though, like how do you communicate that? How do you message that properly to the consumer so they can understand why, why you guys versus your competitors because of X, Y, and Z, and because of the tech that you have in place. That would be interesting to me to, I guess understand like I guess how are you, is there plans to message that, and like what that could look like? I just think it could be very powerful if that message is told properly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And I think the challenge behind it for us too is that we want people to understand that while there is this AI technology available to make your life easier, and it will, and get you information you need in a much quicker fashion, there's still that human touch element behind it though that is so, so important. So we don't want anyone thinking that they're stuck in this chat environment with this AI intelligence piece, and there's absolutely no one whatsoever there to help them if they need issue.
Yeah.
That's not how we use it, right? We really want this to be an AI friendly tool that says, hey, we'll make the process help you make a decision easier and quicker, but there is always that support there if you need help. And I think for us it's important that our customers understand that while we blend in that AI, we're never going to lose that concierge kind of white glove personal human interaction which has made us who we are today. So it helps out with some of those tasks to allow us to respond quicker, but a lot of times that response is still that individual element as opposed to, hey, there's going to be some AI tech that's running everything, right? So I think that's the important message for us, Max, is that we understand the value it brings, but we don't want that to replace what that human interaction is. It's so important, especially in the relocation space, right? That's a very much hand-holding type of space. Nothing ever goes wrong, right? Right, Max? Things stay on schedule. There's never delays. Nothing ever changes. So I think that's the importance for us, is to let our folks know that, hey, we're still there, right, if you need us.
Yeah. I got a question kind of off that and I think every time we talk about technology with any number of company, there's this idea that technology loves to solve a bunch of problems, right? It tries to automate a bunch of things. It tries to ask people and kind of have this less human element to it. That my question always after that is, okay, your demographic you guys are serving, right? Age group, gender, what have you, the application of tech. You guys ever find that your demographic struggles a little bit with technology? Like, are you targeting them more, 35 plus, 40 plus, or is your demographic all over the board and the adoption of technology super easy for you guys in terms of your client base?
Yeah, definitely. Listen, our kind of demographic of client is all over the board, right? Because think about it. We're dealing with younger generations who might be moving a car because they're going back and forth to college or what have you, right? But then we're also dealing with those snowboarders, right? Those folks who are retired that might be going down, in the winter to a warmer location and then going back up north, and they tend to be a little bit of an older generation. So for us, it's more so that, hey, we want to be able to offer the AI so those who are comfortable with it and used to it and kind of expect it at this point, it's available for them. But at the same time, we don't want to force that down anyone's throat. If you're still comfortable old school wise and you want to call someone and talk to someone, you can do that. So, Steve, I think you really need to be conscious of who your target audience is and make sure that your approach and the way that you are using AI doesn't force them to get out of their comfort zone, right? And listen, we definitely see younger folks are the ones who are probably more inclined to use that type of tool and feel comfortable with that to, hey, book a car transport, where someone else might say, hey, no, I really want to talk to someone. I have a bunch of questions. I just want someone that I can give them some background of what's going on, what I'm worried about. So I think we have to offer it to make sure it's available to those who expect it, but then not, take away that other aspect of dealing with someone on a one-on-one basis.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I have a question, because we're going to be, and we've been talking to CEOs, founders, marketers. You're our first strategic officer, right? I'd love to hear just like your day to day. Like what does that involve? Because I know you dabble in the marketing, you dabble in the biz dev. Like what does Marco's day look like?
Yeah, so it's busy, right? I think overall the way I approach my day is I want to take kind of a health check of the entire organization and just make sure that have a baseline going to set up our teams for success internally. And then because we are so diversified, then we might look into other specific aspects that we have going on with different channels or markets that we serve. And there's going to be a different approach to each one of those. So it's making sure that anything that we put out, Max, is aligned with our mission, right, of who we are. There might be different ways in which we need to present that, but I need to make sure that we are consistent in who we are and that our value proposition stays the same. But it's a different flavor, right, depending upon who we're necessarily talking to. So it does keep it challenging because, the best laid plans, it doesn't necessarily happen that way. There are things that pop up and you need to be able to adjust and pivot. But, I get involved certainly heavily on the marketing side. I get involved in the operations side. I get involved in the sales side. I get involved in the IT side. So I'm really there to make sure that if any of our teams have questions or they're struggling with something, I'm there to offer them guidance and support. My personal style is I'm not really a look over the shoulder kind of guy. My teams understand what we're looking to do, and I encourage them to come up with their own creative ways to get there. But I'm a resource to make sure that they're not, veering too far off path, or if they are struggling with something, I could go in and maybe suggest some ways that they can certainly, get to where they need to go. It's keeping track of, things that are in the space and trends that are coming and going, right? We've talked about AI, and that's certainly been a big part of what I do. But it's also looking for not only what's happening now, but what might be happening next month or a year from now. And we want to try and stay ahead of the trends. We're very big on trailblazing here at SYCN. We like to be, proactive instead of reactive. So there's a lot that goes in, to my day to day, and I certainly have not lost that. Relationship building is very important to me as well. So I do some travel and meet with clients and meet with new prospects. There is a lot that goes into that as well. That's important to me because we truly, we're not necessarily a transactional company. We build relationships, and that's part of my task as well. So. Somehow you need to fit that all into a 40 plus hour
40-hour
work
work
week,
week.
and make sure that you're prioritizing things. I think again it's staying organized and focused, but understanding that you need to be flexible and things are going to happen. So my job basically is to keep all the plates spinning, if you will, right? I move around when something starts to teeter a little bit. give it a little bit of attention to it to make sure we're running smoothly. So it's challenging, but I love it.
That's awesome. So it's interesting too, because I feel like what you're doing, you're really creating that alignment for within the company in the different departments. And a lot of the companies that we work with, that's typically what we try to do. Yeah, we're going in as, hey, we'll be your digital marketing agency or partner, but we want to try to understand like the business goals as well, so we can create that alignment when we're creating certain campaigns or initiatives within their marketing efforts. So
Right.
I love that. It just makes a lot of sense. So we're very much in the same. Um, I guess we think very similar in how that should happen. One thing that I feel like you've said a few times is just kind of like being that leader in the space. And I know we've had the chance to work together on some thought leadership, right, within the space, and brand versus personal brand, things like that.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What is the brand doing to stay top of mind, to stay uh, as that thought leader within the space? Because it is a very competitive space. There are direct competitors. You've worked for your competitors, right? So how do you, Marco, stay ahead of the game, and be that leader as well as the brand? And is there a separation, or are you just, again, similar to what you're doing within the company, like creating that alignment for you and the brand?
Yeah, I think that self-branding has really taken on, I think, some importance here. And I think it may go back a little bit to what I said, which is, especially in our business, is that these personal relationships that you make, right? They're very important. So I think a lot of times people want to understand who that individual is. I think we're just naturally curious as, humans, who are we working with? Who is this person? What makes him or her tick? So I think for me, that brand is, more so, hey, giving a little bit of information that I'm comfortable with about who I am as a person, right? So people understand who I am. I'm definitely going to respect the boundaries of that business relationship, but I think in today's day and age is that you have the ability maybe to get to know that person a little bit better. So I do, personally brand myself and give aspects into, my past and my likes and, what my interests are. And sometimes that's something that clicks with someone, and it just makes that business process or that business relationship just a little less strange, right? It's more so working with friends, right? It's working with someone that you have a personal relationship with. We do also obviously want to brand our company, right? So at SYCN, we work hard to brand ourselves and make sure that people understand what our USP is, or our unique sales proposition, and how we differentiate ourselves from others. But we also want to show that we have our pulse on things that are going on in the world, right, outside of just our little space. So, we try and discuss whenever it's makes sense to talk about things going on, struggles with the economy, recession wise, and how that's impacting our industry. Certainly while everyone was going through COVID, what those impacts were like, and what that was like, the impact not only to us as a business, but our industry as well. So, trying to really, bring those different factors in to make people understand that, hey, we're part of this ecosystem as well. And, our brand understands challenges that are going on outside of just, the relocation space or the auto logistics space.
Right.
We do also use that as a platform, though, to let people know things that we're working on, thought process that we have as far as how we might be able to advance our technology and our service. Some of our best ideas, frankly, have come from those sort of social interactions with clients and customers who give us their thoughts. And we say, you know what, that's great. We never really thought of that angle or that perspective before. So we do encourage that type of communication with our clients and generally the industry as well. I think that's important too, is that, we keep in touch with our competitors. We try and make the industry a better place for everyone, knowing that, hey, we're fierce competitors, but we're facing challenges in our space. I alluded to earlier, concerns with fraud and things of that nature. And we need to work together as folks in this space, as companies, because, we all live in the same ecosystem, and we need to make it safe for our customers. And that's the thing I love about our space too, is that while we're very fierce competitors, we all are able to come together in a room and basically say, hey guys, what can we do to make this better for everyone? And really, social media and marketing has been the impetus for that for us. That's how those conversations start. That's how those conversations get rolling. So I think it's important to not only personally brand yourself, but also make sure that you have strong branding for, your company as well.
And you've given us a lot of information there. I think one thing we always kind of go back to is our day to day, our clients' day to day, that kind of stuff. Like, what makes you the most excited to do this? Like, what gets you really out of bed to do the things you do every single day? Is there anything in the future you guys are looking forward to? Is there just anything in general that just really gets you, amped to do this job?
Yeah, well, I had mentioned, that competitive nature. I'm a very competitive person, maybe just a little bit. So, that's part of it as well, for sure. But, we are, when it boils down to it, we are in a people industry. And for me, is that the satisfaction I get is not only working with people internally, right, within our company, and watching people who I might be mentoring grow up and mature and start getting more and more responsibility in our company and being successful and seeing them reap the rewards from all that hard work. That's very satisfying for me as an individual. But then it's certainly our clients as well. So there's nothing that makes you feel better when you have a client who's going through a rough time or a stressful time, and you do everything you can to make it as stress-free for them as possible, and they appreciate that, and they really, you make impact on people. Yeah, yes, we're moving cars, right? We're not doing anything that's crazy. We're moving metal from point A to point B, but that's very important for people, right, in their day-to-day lives, and we understand that. So I think that's the rewarding part for me, is that personal interaction with people internally and externally. But it's also the competition, right? I love that. It's let's make each other better, and let's compete for it, and may the best company win. And I like to win. We're about winning here at SYCN, and winning for us means that our customers value our service and understand, hey, this is the company we want to be working with.
It's great. I mean, everyone likes to win, right? So that's always
Yeah.
so that's always good. So I'd love to learn, because you mentioned how important some social media right now is for you guys, for you personal brand as well as the company. I'd love to know what platforms you guys are winning on, what ones you feel are most important. Is everything organic? Are you doing paid? Is it a mixture? Like, how is that working right now as far as your marketing is going on social?
Yes, good question. I think for us is, we try and keep some of the core for us is that, as a business, is that LinkedIn is probably going to be our central foundation, right? It's gives us the ability to communicate with our clients, and I think the right, as far as the B2B folks, right? Other businesses that we're working with, we do go out there and we go on YouTube and Instagram, and we've dealt a little or played a little bit, with some of the other platforms out there like TikTok. I think it's more so just connecting with that consumer at their level at that point and trying to get our value proposition across, to them. But I definitely think that, you need to be a little bit versatile in the types of platforms that you're using, because again, we had kind of talked about, and Steve, you alluded to it, is that maybe demographic wise, you're going to find more results demographically with a certain type of platform than another. But we just want to be consistent in our messaging. We might say it a different way that makes more sense, but again, we want to make sure that what we're saying on LinkedIn is the same as what we're saying on Twitter, is the same we're saying on YouTube, right? We just might be using those platforms to deliver that message in a little bit of a different way. And personally, my branding is focused personally on LinkedIn, because again, that's where I have all my relationships. And, LinkedIn's been great for us. We've really picked up some brand awareness, but the biggest value I find from that is when we are able to get discussions and conversations going and getting different viewpoints out there and just kind of taking that all in and then internally digesting it and figuring out, is there any action that we need to do on our side based upon what the community is feeling and what's important to them? So I definitely think you should diversify the different types of platforms, but make sure that you're altering your message to fit the platform type, if that makes sense.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
100%.
definitely makes sense. We pretty much advise similar tactics, to our clients. So we're right in line with that message. You're talking a bunch on LinkedIn. I've noticed you have I don't know if you're calling it a segment or a topic, but it's what really grinds your gears. I'd love to know what this is. Tell me about it. Tell our listeners about this piece of content or what this is all about.
Yeah, it just really is a way for me to kind of vent some of the frustrations that I might have with some of the things that I see are going on in the industry. And um, I think what I found is that there's people who relate to it. And then, that certainly starts some great conversations. Very careful, right? I am not, calling out any individual or any company particularly. It's more so either practices that I've seen out there or just ways that people are trying to represent things that I think maybe is not the best way to do it. And, naturally it just, it grinds my gears, right? It bothers me. I mean, listen, anyone that knows me, I'm just a wee bit Italian, and I have that Italian Sicilian temper in me sometimes. And whether it's therapeutic or not, guys, it's just a way for me to say, hey, I wonder if other people are feeling the same way as well. So, it's a way for me to kind of express that. And there have been people, there's been some interesting conversations that have happened based upon some of those topics that I put out there. So that's really what it is. And, I certainly, look to continue that. It's not so much that, hey, I'm going to post that, every week or what have you. It's whenever I run into something specific, I'm like, God, am I the only one that feels this way? And I kind of go out and I post it on there.
Well, I love it. I love that it's real and it's authentic and it's like you said, I think people especially within the industry can resonate with it. And so I think it makes a lot of sense and obviously love the gears and the auto space. So it works. It definitely works there. Um, I'd love to know, because I know you do B2B, B2C, as far as like is there a specific focus, especially as we're going into Q3, Q4 of this year? Like, is there is there a goal to go towards one specific piece more than another, or a consumer more than another, or like how does that look for the business?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? The business, SYCN has been around for almost 13 years now, and kind of started out all direct to consumer, right? So just folks who, are looking to move their car and they're online and they're trying to figure out the best way to do it. The company was actually founded, our CEO, Gavin Keston, founded the company because he had such an awful experience with a car that he bought online.
So funny.
Long story short, this driver showed up at his house at like 2 a.m. and said, hey, you got to pay me for the cars. And Gavin was like, well, I already paid the guy I bought, for the cars. And, Gavin being Gavin, and if you know Gavin, you understand what I'm saying. Instead of getting mad or, getting, frustrated with the driver, he's like, let me understand what's going on. Can I buy you a cup of coffee or could we go out? So Gavin sat down with this driver and understood all the pain points he had in the industry and really said, hey, there's a way we can do this better. And he founded the company. Through the years, though, as it shifted and the focus has become more and more focused on technology, we found that we're more so do more business on the B2B side as opposed to direct to consumer these days. Certainly still work direct with consumers. We actually have two brands that we operate. Our Ship Your Car Now brand is where our consumers go to find us if they just simply need to move a car. And then we have our SYCN Auto Logistics brand, which is more our B2B brand because that's where it pulls in more of that technology aspect to it. So, we look to partner with companies and also integrate our technology with them. There really isn't a particular space that we're focused on. It's more so, hey, we do a lot of work with dealerships. We do a lot of work with manufacturers. Relocation, because of my background, has been a space that we've really been putting a lot of time into, and we've had some great results in it. But for us is, hey, we're just looking to continue to innovate, bring technology that makes sense and works for our customers to the space, and have them understand that, hey, we're there to help them manage things, as opposed to that kind of self-service methodology that I talked about in the beginning, right? We're there to make things easier. We're there to build relationships, and that's really what our drive is just to continue to try and stay ahead of the curve, and to have our brand be known as, hey, those are the guys who,
My last question is, with the market the way it is, the economy the way it is, um, are you seeing or trying to implement anything new, different, that can either help, that's either helping the consumer with just, with what's happening out in the world as far as inflation goes? Like how are you guys combating that for the consumer?
Yeah, I mean, it's challenging, right? It's no doubt that we're in a very challenging time right now, economically. The thing about it is that cars still need to be moved. People still need to relocate. I think for us is that we're obviously trying to be sensitive, and make sure that we're providing a product which we can still price, to where it makes people, feel comfortable with it, but we still want to be able to offer that same level of service that we offer as well. So, for us, it's that fine balance of, making sure that we try to address some of the challenges that are happening in the space, and still, make people understand that we're there for them, right? We understand what's going on, and it has impacts, on the manufacturing side as well. So it's definitely challenging in the current economic, conditions that we're all in, but we're lucky to where we've built a very strong foundation, and working with those clients to understand what their challenges are right now, and to see what we can do, right, to just kind of help each other get through this kind of patch that everyone's going through. And I think that's really what it is, Max, is that you just open up those communications, you have that open dialogue, you have that type of relationship with folks where you can have those tough conversations and say, what can we do to help each other out? And I think that's another part of why people really appreciate working with us, is that we always put that kind of relationship first, right, whenever we can. So I think that's the important part of it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I guess that's a perfect way to kind of lead and end with, as far as open communication goes, like how can people find you, find the company? How can they contact you if they need to ship their car now, or if they just have questions about just the space, or your journey, your professional journey?
Yeah. So, excuse me, if you are an individual, very simple, just go to shipyourcarnow.com. That will give you all the tools that you need in order to get a price quote to move a vehicle, or, find resources or help if you're curious about how the process works. For our business clientele, sycnal.com, which stands for SYCN Auto Logistics. That will take you to our B2B page, learn a little bit more about us, a little bit more in depth about our technology. But if anyone wants to contact me, certainly the best way is to, check me out in LinkedIn, right? Message me, or, send me a friend request. I'd love to grow my network, but I try to make myself as available as possible to people. So I encourage you to, reach out, let's connect, and happy to have some conversations, even if it's just wanting to know about what's grinding my gears, right? If people are curious about that, just, go ahead and check me out on LinkedIn.
Love that. Love that. Well, again, we really appreciate you being here, and really giving us a little inside scoop of your day to day as the Chief Strategic Officer. And yeah, again, we really appreciate you being here. So thanks so much. And I hope everyone tunes into this episode.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.